Purposely. Your life, God's purpose. Listen at purposely.com.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Gospel Tech Podcast. My name is Nathan Sutherland, and this podcast is dedicated to helping families love God and use tech. Today, we're going to be addressing head-on a new report that just came out from Hindenburg Research talking about Roblox. And Roblox is a video game that a lot of kids play. In fact, they say that 20% of their players, they have something like 50 million individual players, they say. I say they say because Roblox is a good chance based on this research that it's actually more like 30 million, but that they're saying we have 50 million individual users who play our game in a month, and that these individual users, 20% of them are under the age of 9. So this is a game that is incredibly popular with young people. Roblox is kind of the multiverse video game. You go and you play a video game, and then you play other people's video games that they made for this video game. There is no singular game that's made by the content creators per se. You go in and there's just a carnival of game options, which seems like a really cool option, right? You get a free-to-play game and a lot of other free-to-play games within that. So there's always creativity, and your kid can learn to code and make their own games, and that's really neat. Like Steam, which is one way people push their games out to the public, but for, Minecraft effectively. And that's a really cool concept and a horrific delivery. So when we talk today about Roblox, I am doing this kind of as a PSA, public service announcement of, hey, let's be aware of what some of the tech that's branded to our children actually is. And then I want to step back from that and say, all right, how can we use our tech conversations we've been practicing in order to talk about some of the biggest tech that our kids want to use, and do so with grace and hope and truth. And those three being grace, we're giving our kids things they don't even ask for or necessarily deserve. We are going to step into a space where maybe they're even making bad decisions on purpose, and rather than just doling out justice, coming alongside and saying, hey, like this might actually be hurting you, and I love you too much. Let's talk about what we could do instead. Let's talk about all our alternatives. Do you see where this might be going sideways? So it's grace and then hope. We are not correcting tech because we're scared of technology. We're correcting tech because it's not helpful in the cases that we're correcting it. And we're redirecting our children to the hope they have in Christ. You're a new creation in Christ. And if you're not a new creation, what you're pursuing right now will not bring you hope. So how can we help your life reflect that? And I use those two because some of our kids aren't saved yet. They don't put their trust in Jesus, but that doesn't mean we don't parent them or love them or direct them back towards truth. And then third, truth, capital T, truth, the thing that best aligns with reality, the thing that happens when we're wrong. We can say, this is fine, there's no problem, they'll make it through just like we did, but then they don't. And we're like, hey, why did that go so wrong? There's answers to that. Some of it is by design. Some of it is because of, just gross levels of negligence and greed. So in this particular game, that's what we're seeing. Roblox, for those of you who do not know, I mentioned it already, but it's kind of this multiverse game. You go in to a singular free-to-play game. You can download it on any app or anything that has apps. So your e-readers and your iPhones and your iPads and your computers. You can play it through consoles, and then you jump into other games. So a very popular one right now is Dress to Impress, where you have the cooperative version is there's 5 minutes in which you get a theme, and then you dress up your little character, and then people vote on you. And so it's like apples to apples, but with your avatar, if you will. I don't know. And that might have been a weird comparison. All right. But the idea being, you have an interactive experience where you're dressing up an individual and then getting picked where you have the best clothes. So kids are doing it, adults are doing that. And that can be very fun and very silly. The problem with Roblox, the I guess top 3 concerns started a couple years ago. For me, you've heard me talk about Roblox before, but Roblox back in 2022, there was an interview on how I built this with the founder of Roblox, where he makes an argument for why they're doing a great job protecting kids. And he says, hey, we know that 3/4 of our users are under the age of 15, and we're doing a great job protecting those young people. In that same interview, the interviewer's 10, 11-year-old son says, hey, what are you going to do to make it feel safer in there? So this is at the end of a 90-minute interview. And the founder says, we're doing a great job. And he's like, no, like one of your core users who's a minor has just asked you in an interview why it doesn't feel safe. And your response is, you feel safe. That's wild. So that was when my, spidey senses started going off. And in the next couple of years, we have seen repeated examples of, like there's some safety issues where YouTube does a pretty solid job of trying to catch stuff in kid spaces. So they're not, getting all of the stuff, but they've stopped themselves from being an inappropriate content site, even though that drives traction. YouTube has avoided that. There's stuff that slips through. There's stuff that's argued under, well, this is art or whatever. But by and large, they have really good AI detection. They have really good independent or individual response, like real person response surveying for trafficking materials and for abuse and for revenge content. And like those, it's on there, but it's tough to find. It gets picked up really quick, and then it gets put into the queue to be like, all right, we're going to hold on to this until we're sure exactly what we're looking at. And there's a strike system. Like it at least has some format to it. It's not perfect. People have been sort of inappropriately targeted for trying to say things that were important, and that YouTube was like, we don't even want to handle that conversation because it's too controversial, even if it's not bad. We're not saying you're wrong. We're just saying you can't have that conversation here. Move it to Twitter or somewhere else. And so people do. In fact, one of the conversations from Hindenburg Research about Roblox got kicked off YouTube because they're like, we can't even show that content on our platform. So there are other groups who are doing something similar, trying to reach a wide audience with entertainment based on Drool Tech, that are still like, yeah, but we at least monitor what comes through here. Like we're doing, Instagram has at least started. They realized the ball is rolling on the Senate hearings for young people in mental health and adult predators and trafficking. And so like, we're going to make a teen standard where you can default to safe-ish, not safe, but it's not as aggressively terrible as it's been for 14 years. And Roblox is still holding strong, being like, but we can be bad because it's good for business. And it is. They're doing very well in terms of their investments. They're doing very poor in terms of their business. And that's something else the report goes into, that this last year, they turned a $1.1 billion loss since 2018. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So, I mean, we're talking 7 straight years of losses, 6 going on 7 though. And they keep increasing their losses, but the margin stays good on their shares because people keep investing in it. And that's why they're not doing anything about it, because they started cracking down on user safety stuff. Then they would lose users, and then they don't have a product to sell. So that is concerning to us as parents, because that we're heavily invested in the company or because we expect these companies to be perfect, but because this is a company that pitches their products to minors. Again, 1 in 5 is under the age of 9, according to company stats from Roblox. And that same company is intentionally not putting up enough safeguards. And when I say that, I mean, it's user-loaded content. That's what people are playing. Their AI is not being trained to pick up on things that are directly unhealthy and unsafe for young people. So they're explicit in what they are showing, either images uploaded from the outside or the content actually created in the game, the participation in the game, and then the interactions in the game, meaning the game itself, what it's asking you to do and allowing you to do, and then the individuals you're doing it with, because Roblox has real life other players and it's meant to be like social media in a video game. And that's very attractive and can be very fun. But if there's no moderation, and if there's no intentionality in who has access to whom and how easy it is to find minors if you're a adult with a bad mindset, Roblox just sets you up to be in a predatory environment as a young person. So when we are talking, all right, how do we pick out our best tech? Well, it needs to be safe, and our children need to be ready, and the fruit needs to be good. Roblox fails all the safe, but not just like a smartphone fails safe. Like safest tech is Tool Tech, and then it doesn't have a browser and doesn't have an app store, and it's accountable. So like a Gab phone, a Bark phone, those are like your first 2 steps in the smartphone world. An iPhone would be the far extended because it's user privacy focused, which again, it's great for totalitarian government protection, terrible for raising a minor on the internet. So iPhones are not your best first choice for a safe phone for a kid, but it still is what it is. Like it's just a phone and you can load what you want. I have an iPhone and I keep it pretty dumb. And I don't have an app store and I don't have social media, including YouTube, because I love focus and I love making good choices. Roblox, though, is not providing you a neutral resource. When we talk about is it safe, it's not just Drool Tech. It's Drool Tech in the least safe variety that we can have. It's not just access to the internet or having apps, because it is basically built around downloading these app games. It is fairly unfettered, and unfettered in such a way that it's got enough of a following now where it's relatively unsafe. Not relatively unsafe. It's distinctly unsafe for minors specifically. If you were an adult and you want to try to navigate some of the games in that, or you want to play with your kid, maybe, but don't just throw your kid on there, even with like a guided access, which normally is such a great tool for letting your kid play a fun game. Don't let your kid just go on Roblox and play it. There's no accountability. Something like Bart cannot catch those conversations within the game. If someone's direct messaging your child or talking to them or putting up inappropriate profile images in the game, writing things on the board in the game, which if you read the Hindenburg report, you will see what I mean by that. Which I had to actually tell Anna. I was like, hey, so I watched like this 3-minute video posted in this link, and like it's definitely going to show up on my Covenant Eyes. Like it was in Roblox, but it's inappropriate. It is not helpful or good. And that is stuff that Covenant Eyes would be able to pick up on, but Bark would not in terms of the social interaction. It would have to be the explicit images to see if it could pick up on that. So with that being said, when we talk about, well, is my child ready for it? Like, no, this is not content that is meant for your child. And that's why Roblox stands in kind of a category of its own. I talked much before, and we'll get to here in a minute, something like Minecraft. But Minecraft often is done on a private server, or it's done on your own computer. So you're done with people where outsiders can't join, or done just completely on your own against the story. And Roblox makes Minecraft look like a coloring book, the most understimulating and focused, singular, safe activity you could participate in. Wait, did I put that right? Roblox makes Minecraft look great. Minecraft makes Roblox look like what it is. It's wildly overstimulating. It's wildly under controlled and managed. And if your child loves Roblox, Minecraft is a delightful second option, and I would move them there quick. Because Roblox right now is not safe for kids. You cannot stand by it. It is not managed or regulated for minors to be on there. And they don't care. They know about the problems. They're aware of the issues they have. And there's just no motivation on their end, because it seems like a large part due to their financial situation that they simply can't, for their business model, crack down because they don't have a product that's making money. And part of the reason they're not making money is because people can't post ads on it because they don't know what else is being shown there. So kind of a catch-22 at this point. That's what you get for not telling the truth. But with this in mind, when we talk about, all right, so we talk about, is it safe? Is my child ready? And is it good? We stop hard at Roblox at number one. It's not safe to the point where we can't let our child go there. If the internet is the new cul-de-sac the kids are going to, Roblox is all the worst parts of that cul-de-sac, by the freeway, and a federal penitentiary in the red light district at midnight. It's all of those, and the company is not acting on what it needs to act on. When we know other companies are, we can see that Instagram has taken steps that they've been capable of taking and now are. YouTube is actively taking steps to make themselves a website that at least can be argued is there to provide entertaining content for a profit. Yes, we'll talk about YouTube too. So I don't want to steal my own thunder. All right, so that's Roblox. Skip it. Find a new game. Minecraft, if you've got to. If you really want video games to be part of your family, I strongly encourage Nintendo products, because Nintendo still focuses its game design around interpersonal play in real life. So the Switch can be played with controllers with someone right next to you, and you don't have to be on the internet. When you do go on the internet, many of their games, you could skid on games that are not helpful, but many of their specifically Nintendo brand games, not from their online store. You can lock down the online store, by the way. It just defaults to a safer form of playing. You don't have to play video games. Pick up a board game. My family just played Throw Burrito together for the first time. It's not a new game, but it's pretty silly. It's kind of like Spoons, if you've ever played that, but with like a throwing squishy burritos at each other element, which is very silly. Like if you mix Spoons with Exploding Kittens, I think would be the combo if I were to compare two games, or mashed up two games into one. So it's a lot of fun. You don't have to play a video game. I'm specifically talking to people who are playing Roblox. Please know the game is worse than we thought. It was as bad as we feared, and it is not a place that's safe for young people to be right now. Our children need alternative forms of fun, especially if they're minors, because the game has turned into a bit of a quagmire, and we need to get that under control before we send young brains out there into it. So find a different game. If it's got to be Minecraft, go for it. If it's got to be real world Legos, 2 thumbs up for you. If it needs to be board games, if it needs to be a safer game like a Mario or something along the Nintendo brand, strongly recommend that switch. So then we take that same conversation, go, okay, it is possible to fail on just the first one. It doesn't matter if my child is ready. You have the most focused, amazing, reset healthy kid in the world. Do not put that child on Roblox. The game is not ready for a child. It is not intended for a child. It's currently being sent to bots and creepers. By bots, I mean automated robotic players, which are counting for, when I said there was inflation, the research compellingly suggests there aren't actually 50 million real world people playing. That many of those are bots that are just mining for stuff to either be sold or to be used by someone who does play. And then it's, where was I going with that? Bots and, creepers. The creepers are there. And it's not everybody, but there's enough of them that it changes the flavor of the game, and you cannot be sure that any one place your child is online will be safe. So then let's apply that to Minecraft. So is it safe? Is it Drool Tech, app, no browser, and accountability? No, it's not Drool Tech. It's Drool Tech. It's a $4 billion. It was purchased for $4 billion from the original creator, owned by Microsoft, and tons of money has gone into it over the last 5 years plus. But in the last 5 years specifically, it's advanced a lot of new content. The downside of that is there's a lot for your child to engage, and it's hard to put down. It is overstimulating. Your child might experience some struggles in their reset, their relationships and responsibilities, emotion, sleep, enjoyment, time. You might notice, you know what? Minecraft seems really cool, but every time my kid plays it, it's just about getting back to the game. It's always a fight to walk away. It's always a fight about when it happens again. There's always some kind of conflict about, but I have to accomplish this one more thing, because the game does set goals for you, even subtly, like, hey, defeat the Ender Dragon so you can get this really cool mineral so you can build the super cool gear, which, by the way, all takes work and time and planning and execution, which at the end of the day takes even more time. And therefore, if I'm trying to hold you to 30 minutes a couple times a week, it may just not work. The game might be too big to be enjoyable in the amount of time you've committed to as a family. So know that about Minecraft. It is Drool Tech built around engagement. It's not meant to be beaten. It's not meant to walk away from. If you really want building that you can walk away from, go AutoCAD, learn coding in something like Scratch or Python or any other Unity, any great program that would let you design a game. You can walk away from those. And then third, would just be like, go to real world Legos, right? You're not going to get overstimulated doing that. So it is Drool Tech, but the content it's safe is acceptable. So is the game safe? Like, this going to fit your Philippians 4:8 family guidelines for, hey, is this true? Is it noble? And is it good? And is it pure? Like Minecraft, maybe you would argue that. Some people don't like the supernatural elements. There's definitely an underworld, and there's some thematic elements involving an Ender Dragon, and there's kind of these revelation themes going on there. All right, but make sure you've talked about it. And if your family said, yeah, we're okay with this, then you can roll into that knowing the game itself is not safe. It's built as Drool Tech for engagement, but it is not morally reprehensible, I guess would be a way to say that. So then we go, all right, is my child, or is it safe? Is my child ready? Oh, accountability. I skipped that part for the is it safe. There's no app store. There's no browser directly from Minecraft. So then, all right, is it accountable? And as long as it's on your own system or played on a closed system with friends and family, all right, so it's closed off and you're setting your time limits and your expectations. So then is my child ready? Again, with the reset, you're looking to say, can you handle real world relationships and responsibilities, emotions, sleep, enjoyment, and time? If you have friends that you really enjoyed time with and now you want to play on Minecraft, okay, there's an argument for that. The reason I have delayed this with my children, and specifically with Minecraft, is it has this enticing, I'm sorry, my words today, my enticement that makes the game more exciting than real life. and gives you the feeling of hanging out with friends, but you're not actually building real world experiences. So can you share the gospel through Minecraft? Sure. Can you build friendships through it? Sure. It just isn't set up for that quite as well as being together in real life. What you can do, though, is enjoy a friendship that you already enjoy, have this fun digital experience, and then step away and go back to being real world friends. Having that fun digital experience is part of what you talk about, part of what you do. I have known lots of people who make their friends and the foundation for their friendships in Minecraft, and they have found too many times that the Minecraft people aren't available when they need them. Either because those people are using Minecraft to medicate their own issues, or because they just got busy in real life and with their own actual friends, and they just don't come back enough to really be a resource for this individual. So it's more often a method of coping than it is a method of growing. And I just want us to notice that. And I'm not blaming people who play it. I know a lot of healthy people enjoy it and do it well with proper boundaries. So I'm celebrating you. But this is for the parents who go, man, kids seem to like that, like they like Roblox. Huge difference between this and Roblox. Please play Minecraft before you play Roblox. 10 out of 10 every single time. I would never argue for Roblox over Minecraft. And Minecraft is the game that Dr. Dmitry Christakis from Seattle Children's Research Institute said is the most addictive game he's seen for young people. So that's just something to note. There's something about the game that makes it different than Legos. It will overstimulate child. It might impact their reset in a negative way. And so just recognize that. Is my child ready? And then finally, is the fruit good? Once you've given Minecraft to your kid, it is still on the table because your child is the most important thing. So if your child's playing Minecraft and you go, man, this really changes your attitude every time you play, or this really changes your enjoyment of the rest of life and family hangout, or your sleep pattern, or your time management, or your commitments with friends and school. Okay, now you know, take it to your child and say, hey, I've noticed. I actually had to do this yesterday with one of my children, which I'll get to in the next section. So this is an important conversation. It's a parenting opportunity. More important than getting this game right in terms of Minecraft is getting the conversation right. If you choose to let your child to play it, it doesn't mean this is a once for all. You can check the box because you did your work as a parent. Your work as a parent now is check the fruit. Galatians 5:22 says that the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, faithfulness, and self-control. That those are fruit that will come from us being connected and abiding in Jesus. So if this game makes me produce other fruit, like Galatians 5:19-21, like dissension and anger and envy and jealousy and lust and other things that we don't want to see coming out of our hearts, we don't just stuff it down and say, well, I'm not gonna feel that. You're feeling it. It's there. It's a fruit that was produced. The only way to pick it is to repent. And sometimes the only repentance we have in front of us is to quit doing the thing that produces that fruit. If there's consistency that Minecraft or that Roblox is producing bad fruit in your family and your child and your heart and your attitudes, then the thing has to go. Matthew 5:28-30. It becomes expendable because you are not. It's an act of hope. It's an act of grace, and it's bringing truth to bear in our lives, not just recognizing truth as an idea out there, but truth is what we act on, because not acting it brings truth to bear the hard way, which is, well, when gravity takes over and we eventually run into the things, right? It's what happens when we're wrong. That is reality. And that is what truth is trying to make known to us. It's the greater reality that God is speaking to us through his word and through the reality that we need a savior and that our savior calls us to good works. So third and finally, what about things like YouTube? If Roblox is just on its face, not worth its time, then Minecraft is a discretionary call as we look at our children. Are they ready? Then YouTube is kind of a mix between them both. It is not confined to its own little space. It is, it has a browser. It is its own browser. It doesn't really have apps per se, unless you think of channels almost as like personality apps. So you go to YouTube and you find a channel of someone you like. My family really likes Dude Perfect. You go click just Dude Perfect, and now all of a sudden you have 10 years, 15 years now, of content. That just scrolls and scrolls and scrolls. And I mean, billions of views have gone into this one channel. Well, that's almost like an app that's dedicated to one specific topic and designer group, one group of personalities. And then I can go just one over. Now I'm watching the Global Cycling Network, and they have their own personalities and their own content thread. And you do get this idea of like these, the concept of an app is that this is a standalone idea and concept a game per se, or an opportunity, a social media platform or a tool. And you can download this app and participate in a particular activity through just this app. It's dedicated to that. Well, YouTube is a conglomerate of a bunch of content creators, but now channels are so strong and so potent, and their algorithm is so good at picking the next thing for you that it isn't actually that different, except you don't have to download the app. So when you talk about is it safe, it's Drool Tech. There's effectively apps. On the designer side, the apps help you create. You are a content creator. It's what I use. And then on the consumer side, those apps are used to direct traffic and to be part of the data matrix that allows people to see their suggested bars. And it's not always, this one's the most watched. It's based on what you've watched and what you've liked and how you've engaged it. And so for that, they might give you suggestions from people that have 50 views because they think you would like that content. And they're pretty good at knowing whether or not you'd like that content. So when we say, is it safe? No, YouTube is not safe, meaning it is not a place you can just walk in and hope you never run into any problems. And this is where I was going to share a story from yesterday, where one of my children watched a perfectly fine, morally acceptable video and enjoyed it. And then saw a suggested video on the same topic and wanted to watch that one. Now, we had agreed on a certain amount of time. The time was passed with the one video. But what about that video? Like, well, that one's fine. You can watch that one another time. But when? Like, well, not right now because we're done. And there was a conflict that was put there by the app. We did not have to have this. Just watching the one video, hitting pause, walking away would have been fine. But it pops up and it's like, but what about this video? I'm like, yeah, I do want to know that video. And so it's using a little of your natural curiosity, God-given gift. It's an amazing thing. Keep asking questions. It's how we find amazement and awe in God. It's by asking questions and doing the actual work of finding answers. It's the beauty of science and the beauty of literature and the beauty of art is the process of asking great questions and creating in the process these answers that show us true reality, that show us who God is and who we are in light of that. So cool, there's curiosity, but it also feeds on discontent. But now you're being left out, but now you don't know. And this information's out there and you could have had it, and now you don't have it. And it doesn't even have to be about a video game. It doesn't have to be about any tech product. It just preys on the curiosity that then causes frustration because it's being withheld from you. Nobody likes being left in the dark. So I then had to have a conversation with my child and explain, here's the deal, two things. One, we agreed on a time limit. And you were fine with that until the program fought you. Two, this seems to be a thing that we've been bumping into, so we're going to go ahead and take a step back. And we're not going to take a full month, which would be the full detox time, according to Anna Lemke, author of Dopamine Nation. But we are going to take a step back, and we're going to give you some time. And then the conversation, well, what am I going to do instead? I'm like, just the way you're asking me that tells me I'm making the right decision, right? Like, I'm not mad at you. This is not punishment. This isn't to teach you a lesson. This is because I love you. And I noticed that you were doing great during the video and you were interacting with me, and then the video ended and all of a sudden malcontent. And it lasted 5 minutes or so, arms crossed, upset, kind of gloomy in the face. And then about 10 minutes after the video, my normal child showed up again. And it's just confirmed, hey, you know what? We're not going to do it. We're going to take at least a week off. And we're going to, if we do watch a video, it's going to be as a group. I'm not going to let you watch this individual interest area. And specifically, this was on a board game and the rules for this board game. And like, there's some delightful playthroughs. It was not overstimulating. The content was not inappropriate. The presenter was not presenting, off-topic niche subjects and like trying to, infiltrate my child's mind. It was literally just the availability of more information on a topic that was just a little too much of a draw. I'm like, hey, you know what? I like this, and we're still going to participate in the content we're discussing. This game is okay, and we're going to play it. And you can't watch these videos for the next week. We need some space to like reflect on that. And that is something to know about YouTube. When we talk about, is it safe? Yeah, we want to know, is it Drool Tech? It is. And it's the most potent form of Drool Tech I know next to TikTok in terms of its algorithm's ability to feed you stuff. I would say YouTube isn't as toxic as TikTok in terms of the content. They are much more intentional about what they're loading up, but it's not perfect. Even in kids, you're going to run into ads that are just odd or bizarre or blatantly inappropriate. So with that in mind, it's not safe, but you can choose to use it within limits but make sure you understand that there's basically apps. It is a browser, so those are both there. And there's accountability in that Bart can pick up on searches through YouTube. So if they were looking up something to involve self-harm or mental health, you would get notified of that. And Bart can recognize interactions in terms of, it would have to be if it was like a direct message, because they wouldn't pick up comment stuff. So if you lock the comments on parental mode, Covenant Eyes can pick up the images if you're worried about inappropriate content showing up in that way, be that video game content or movie clips or just stuff that pops up before it gets flagged and taken down. Again, YouTube does a pretty good job. If you're looking for trouble, you can find it. But by and large, the platform itself has done a lot of work to make sure it doesn't turn into just a free-for-all of content, something like a Reddit or a Discord where the stuff shows up if you know where to look. It is not as actively managed. YouTube is. So with that in mind, it's not bad on its face. It is Drool Tech of the highest order, that it can very much distract you and retrain you very quickly to believe you need some stuff that you never wanted, like my child believing needed to watch another video when we were perfectly content with the first video when we agreed to it. So know that going in, that is how we're going to handle that conversation. You're going to talk through each of those. And so we go, all right, safe, ready with a reset is where we rest with YouTube. Is my child ready to handle this much decision-making and this much impulse control and this much self-reporting and this much independence, even in kid mode, even if you're locked in with guided access or something similar where you can't leave this particular browser? Still a lot of freedom to give. And then finally, what's the fruit? And that again, between the reset and the fruit, we are looking at our children and saying, all right, is this building up in the way this should go? Am I helping you Proverbs 22:6? Or is this just a little too much right now? We're going to take a step back. We're going to enjoy another piece because it's just not appropriate. So when we look at today's conversation, we have Roblox, Minecraft, and YouTube, 3 of the top apps that people are asking about and that people have children who want to participate in. Mom and Dad, can I play Roblox? Can I play Minecraft? Can I jump on YouTube and watch Roblox and Minecraft content? And my encouragement to you is use the tools we've been using. Let's talk about, is it safe? Are you ready? And is it good? Is the fruit good? When it's safe, we're looking at, is it tool or drool? Are there apps in this? Is there accountability? And is there a browser? I did those in the wrong order, but is it tool or drool? Is there is it tool or drool? Are there apps? Is there a browser? And is there accountability? Is the order I typically go in. Then we want to know, all right, are you personally ready, looking at our reset? And then finally, is the fruit of this good? Once I've given it to you, I still keep monitoring because I'm a loving parent. Roblox loses on its face because of the way the company's being run. And there's a research piece that just came out this last week that shows us, you know what? They're not ready for kids yet. Even though 3/4 of their population is children, they're not ready for kids. And they've made a business choice. So we as loving parents, do not let your child play Roblox right now. Unless I guess if you're going to co-play every time with them and be in that space, but don't hand them a phone when you're waiting to get a task done. Don't let them go on iPads. Don't let them run into a private space, because there's so many things that can happen in there that they don't have even the words to say, that they ran into, that is still troubling to them and is unsafe for their emotional and psychological and spiritual development. Minecraft, way safer. And so now we get into are you ready? Is this a good fit for our family? Is this something we want to see for you conversation? And then third and finally would be YouTube. Amazing resource, but recognize what it is. It's got all the dangerous parts of technology. It is not meant to be just free search, choose your own adventure, but within reasons and boundaries, can be used very well as a family, can have some awesome resources. And of the 3, looks amazingly safe. Which is terrifying because YouTube isn't safe. It isn't built to be safe. It's one of the best directive algorithms of all time in terms of training you to click one more time, to get you to build a behavior, to get you to go back to it. And we all feel that pull, right? You went to figure out how to fix your air conditioning unit or this season, your furnace, and you stayed to figure out how that squirrel got through that maze. Like YouTube's real good at that. 2016 was the last time we got that stat. And they told us that almost 70% of their users clicked on a suggested video. So 70% of their people were like, I came here for this, but I'm going to stay for just this one more. That's powerful behavior modification. With that in mind, we are using this tech on purpose, not for purpose. So as we talk to our children about it, we're using hope focus. We talked about bringing grace to this conversation, the grace of the gospel, that we're sinners in need of a savior, that we can't be turning to tech to make us good or to make us okay. It's called coping. It's reasonable, but it's not sustainable. So when we're coping with technology and we're using it so that we can get through this season that's so hard, we want to make sure we have an exit strategy. So when do we quit using this to be okay? And how do we get there? Generally, it's by removing the unhealthy tech and replacing it with relationships and with opportunities, with analog adventures that will not overstimulate us and will not fight good decision making, so that we can build up healthy habits and then begin to bring in little bits of that more fringe health technology like a YouTube. So we want to make sure that we're being intentional in those conversations with grace focused, that we are focusing then from grace to the hope we have in Christ, that I'm not taking this away because I'm mad at you, because I believe in who God is making you to be, and I've seen how amazing you are, and I want to see you flourish in this. We use our reset as our conversation points, focus as a loving parent on talking about their relationships and responsibilities, their emotional health, their sleep, their enjoyment, and their time use. With that, you can now talk with them, and as I like to say, you're going to be fighting for them, not with them when it comes to technology. And then finally, you're going to come back to, all right, so we've talked about the grace of this and the hope I have for you, and now it's the truth. What is the truth in this? And that's where we come down firmly to the reality God has set before us, that I understand this isn't fun, but I'm not doing it because I'm mad at you. I'm not doing it because it's fun. I'm doing it because it's good. And that there's a right way to do this. And if this doesn't line up with the right way, be that the content with Philippians 4:8, be that the interactions, be that the fruit that we see come out of them, if it's not great, then we're going to lovingly step back and reinsert awesome adventures and real world relationships and some risk and responsibility, like we've talked about, beneficial stress. And we're going to allow you to grow as a young person so that you can grow into a healthy adult, not just a safe kid, meaning you will be able to address the digital spaces of your life as well as the physical real world spaces. So I hope this is encouraging. I hope it helps you connect how we've been thinking about technology and talking about it with some of these biggest questions we've got about tech. If you have any more questions for me, would you reach out to me, nathan@gospeltech.net, or you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Love God Use Tech. Yeah, I'm on there in those spaces because I know that most people, when they have a question, they Google it first before they email me. And I want to make sure that there are helpful resources for you in those spaces that can direct you to the grace, hope, and truth of Christ as we apply it to our technology. And then if it was helpful, would you share it with someone who could use this, someone who can be encouraged in the work they're already doing with their kids, or can be challenged in the thoughts that they are processing as they are about to have kids, are raising young kids, or already have kids in the thick of it, and they're trying to figure out why the processes they chose so far may not be working. I would love to be a part of their processing those important conversations, because you all are doing the work of parenting these kids, and I'm so grateful for the loving intentionality you're bringing to this work. I ask you to join us next week as we continue this conversation about how we can love God and use tech.